Shabbat Shalom. That was really weak. Also, why are you all sitting all the way back there? We have such nice, comfy chairs. All right, I don't get it. Lauren Cantor, we moved all these chairs this week and you're sitting in a white, okay. We'll try it again. Shabbat Shalom. So much better. We are on bracketed page 128. If you're in a blue chair, your book is underneath your seat. If you're in a white chair, you need a book, but make sure you didn't grab a chumash, which is not a prayer book. Yeah, that's the wrong one, Jody. No, you're right, Jamie. Yeah, sorry. You're doing so great, except it's upside down. Okay, so we're on bracketed page 128, and there's a call and response. Cool. Singing. We are on bracketed pages 138 and 139. As we make our way through this part of our service, I remind you each week is called Kabbalat Shabbat, and it's the stuff that's meant to help us ease into the rest and the breath and the break, which is hard to just jump right into. So we have all this early service stuff that helps us kind of let go a little. So we're on bracketed pages 138 and 139. and face the entrance to our sanctuary or whatever space you are joining us from at home.
Boi beshalom, ateret bala, gam besimcha u'etzola, tov emunei yom segula, boi chala, boi chala. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. La 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 la. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, penei penei Shabbat nekabela.
Before you sit down, please take a moment and greet your neighbors. Try to find somebody near you don't already know and wish them a Shabbat Shalom. All right, once you've said some hellos, I'd love to invite you to take a seat. Page 120 is where our Shabbat candle blessings are. And if you are participating in the Barnard Temple Purim Spiel next Friday and you are an adult, I think we're going to do adults. Adults who are in the Purim Spiel, would love to invite you to help light our Shabbat candles. We're on bracketed page 120. Yeah, you are in the Purim Spiel. You look confused. I'm not confused. There's a number of you here. Well, Claire is there, and Marla is here, and Rachel is there. I think Jeff is not here. That's a nice little group of you who are here. Why not? Page 120.
Oh, hear our prayer we sing to you. Be gracious to the ones we love and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear our prayer to you. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
So before we offer the words of Kiddush, what do you got that's good? Right? So we imagine that, well, we don't imagine. What's inside this cup is juice, and the juice is or the wine, whatever is in your Kiddush cup, wherever you are. This is a blessing that starts with a blessing over the juice or the wine, but it's really a blessing for the day, which is Shabbat. And we need something that we can use as like almost a vehicle or a tool to sanctify the day, right? So that's why we use juice. And if you're ever like in a pinch and it's Shabbat or a holiday and you don't have juice or wine and you need to make your sanctification for the day for Shabbat or a holiday, you can use something else if you need to, like a challah actually works, even though this is how the tradition developed. But anyway, I digress. So we imagine that we elevate our celebration of this day even more by sharing our blessings, like adding them to this cup, right? So what's good? Oh, Abby. Good score on your math test, and there we have reached the quota of anything that has to do with good scores on anything. Congratulations to all of you who have worked hard to earn all of your excellent grades or whatever you got. Congratulations, but no more comments about scores. Yes, it's not about a score? Ski races, cool. I hope you ski bravely because I think all skiing requires bravery. Michaela. Mom's home. Oh, that's a good one. I like that. Asher. Asher finished reading The Complete Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck. Excellent, yes. Oh, yeah. Miriam, what you got? Cool. Dayenu on the cello. I don't know, we can have like a dueling Dayenu and Kol Nidre thing and see where it's, okay, Jane.
I was honored last night to be the Servicewoman of the Year for Ramsey, and I was definitely humbled that some certain people from Barna attended, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Mazel tov. So Jane Simon was honored by the town of Ramsey as the Servicewoman of the Year, and was the honor was elevated even more by the presence of other partner folks. Okay, wow, there's so many people. Avital.
My equivalent with score is I
You got a raise. Yay, that's awesome.
Still have a job.
Yeah. Margie.
We just had the pleasure of attending Madison's bat mitzvah in Florida.
Yeah, so Madison Leitner became bat mitzvah in Florida. Madison is the granddaughter of Mike and Margie. Okay, okay. Eileen, or is it Eileen who has a hand up? Okay.
Yes, we just returned from a wonderful vacation in Hawaii,
Wow.
and I did live stream.
Cool. So a wonderful vacation in Hawaii and live streaming. So I think I'm just gonna, okay, Jennifer. We had a wonderful tag event, exactly, which is why there's all these adorable young people. Some of them are wearing masks, getting ready for Purim. So I'm going to invite you to just, I know you want to share your great things, and I'm sorry, but if we keep doing all of the blessings now, then we'll never get to dinner and chicken tenders and cookies, and I know that's important. So I'm going to just say, like, put a pin in your blessing, and when you sit down at your table or you get your own egg snack, you should share it with your table mates, and if you really want me to know, you can come tell me after services too. I don't know if you care if I know, but that's just the way we're going to do. Okay, bless you. Page 123, please rise.
Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech
haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zeher letzion mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim ve'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava Shaltanu, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Page 146. We remain as we are.
Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai la lai 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 lai. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai ya la lai 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 lai.
I invite you to take a deep breath for Shabbat and turn to page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Page 154, please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, ושבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Page 159 in the English. We offer these words. We offer these words aspirationally as we get ready to offer this prayer for freedom, imagining what freedom could turn into, could make possible in a land. The Israelites were headed to Israel when these words were first offered, so for sure there, but also in all of the places where we make our homes and where we imagine a world that is better than the one where we are living at the moment. We read together, sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace, page 158. We are using only bracketed page numbers.
Yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai.
Top of 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will.
Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukkot shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukkot shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukkot shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael.
Page 164, please rise.
Adonai sefatai tiftach uvi agita hilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot v'imachot, U'mebיא גאולה לפני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah. Atah Givor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol atah, Rav leHoshia. Mashiv HaRuach u'morid HaGashem, Mechakel Chaim bechesed, Mechayei HaKol berachamim rabim. Tzomech noflim verofei cholim, Umartir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar. Mi hamocha bagevurot, umidomelach, melech memit umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua. V'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayei hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kedoshim b'chol yom yehallelu chasela. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
We continue privately through pages 180 and 181. You may do so seated or standing, as is your custom. So our Torah portion this week is called Tetzaveh, and it is the second of 2 consecutive Torah portions. I'm just going to vamp a little, where the Israelites are receiving the instructions about how to build the Mishkan, or the tabernacle, which is the traveling sanctuary. So one of the sort of noticeable pieces about, especially toward the beginning, but in the whole Torah portion, it's unusual, is there's one person who has like a really important role in the Torah, and particularly in the book of Exodus, whose name is not mentioned in the Torah portion. Who do you think that could be? God. No, not God. God's not a person. I'm talking about an actual person. Asher.
I was thinking Miriam.
Oh, I love that guess, Miriam.
I just don't think they mentioned her.
Yeah. Well, Miriam isn't mentioned, but she also isn't mentioned a lot. So that is correct, but it's not what I was going for. Elijah. Okay, your name. Actually, Elijah doesn't appear anywhere in the Torah, but Elijah does appear later in the Bible, in the Tanakh. So yes, also right, not what I was going for, Ezra. No, Aaron is in this Torah portion, but you've now named, okay, Parker. Moses. All right, good. So we got Moses' 2 siblings first. We got Miriam, she's not there. Aaron, he is there. But Moses' name is missing from this week's Torah portion, which is noticeable because Moses is like in charge of the people right now, right? They have not that long ago left slavery and passed through the Red Sea, and they have not that long ago received the 10 Commandments. And they're trying to get themselves organized. And this last week and this week, we have very specific directions for building a very, very ornate sanctuary space that will be a traveling sanctuary. And in particular, this week, there's a great focus on clothing, particularly the clothing of the priests. But Moses is not mentioned in Tetzaveh. So why do you think? Like, the rabbis obviously noticed that, and they want to answer questions. So why do you think what answer might the rabbis have given for why Moses isn't there? Emmy.
He might have been away and left his brother Aaron.
Could have been away and left his brother Aaron in charge. Possible. Asher. Okay. Anybody else have an idea? I'm not really fishing for an answer, actually. The answer that the rabbis come up with is, it's not one I actually care for all that much, to be honest. It's they see that at one point, sort of semi-recently, he did something that maybe was looked upon unfavorably, and so this is like a punishment or something like that, and that's why he doesn't get to be in this week's Torah portion. But that doesn't like really sell me. I'll share one answer I like better, although I'm sure there are many answers that would be great answers, which will lead me into where we're going, which is that the Israelites last week and this week in this building of the sanctuary are invited to build a sacred space where they are going to meet each other, and in particular, the Torah says, where God will dwell among them. Right? So maybe they see this week, or in this part of the instructions that they're receiving, that their space is not dependent on only one person, right? Like they can build a sacred space and be in and follow directions without that one leader, right? They're not going to be able to be reliant on Moses forever, right? He doesn't even get to go to Israel with them. And that each of them, and each of the ways that they contribute to building the sacred space in its own way is as important, right? We learned last week about the offerings of the heart that the Israelites were invited to bring, and that without Moses in the Torah portion this week, that point is underscored, that the work continued even without this one leader. And it's an invitation for each of us to find our own places in the community and to figure out what our roles are going to be and how we're going to see ourselves within this larger community and how our identities will sort of develop in that way. So this week, we have the opportunity to do something really special as a community, which is to formally welcome a member of our community to the Jewish community in a new way. Lauren, you can come up. Lauren Krause is not a new member of the Barnert community, but is officially now a new member in a new way of the Jewish community this week. And Lauren's gonna, in a moment, where are you going? I don't know. Lauren's gonna share a little bit about her journey and what this has meant. And I'll just say for context that when somebody decides that they wish to become Jewish, it's not like you wake up one day and that's it, right? That there is a whole long process of learning and study and living as a Jew that culminates in going to the mikveh, which is the ritual bath that we go to for lots of different reasons. And then it ends in our community here, usually on a Friday night, where we get to hear words from this member of our community about their journey, and just as by way of sort of knowing each other differently and being in sacred relationship. And I say this every time we do this, but I'm going to say it again. There is something very intimate, actually, about what's about to happen, where Lauren is going to share her story with us. And we are keepers of this story. And it is not your story to tell. What I mean by that is, once somebody becomes Jewish and they formally convert to Judaism, it is as if they were always Jewish, right? So even though you are here, and so many of you came for this moment, even though you are here, you actually are never allowed to talk about Lauren as a person who chose to become Jewish, unless she brings it up. And then you can talk with her about whatever she wants. So it's this sort of moment of sharing this deep personal part of someone's story that we witness and we treasure and we care for, and it's not yours to talk about, right? When people are in classes or in meetings or whatever it is, you may have been here on a Friday night when somebody did this also, and if they wish to share anything about their story, that's totally their prerogative. But even if you know, you don't talk about it. Because we never want any person in a room to feel that they are any less Jewish than anybody else was, whatever their path was to Judaism. Cool? Great. And you can also know that now as a person sort of who gets to help keep everybody feeling safe and whole. So I'll just say this is Lauren Krause. And you might most recently know Lauren as the co-chair of our Building Together campaign. But Lauren, what?
I said you're welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you. Lauren has worn many hats at Barnard over the years. For me, this has been a particularly special journey to travel with you, Lauren. So it's yours.
Thanks. It's been very special for me too, so thank you. Just forgive me, I'm going to just read. I hope that's okay with everybody. Okay. This is my story. My mother was raised Russian Orthodox and my father Roman Catholic. When my sister and I were born, they decided to raise us Catholic. The joke we tell as a family is my parents opted for Catholicism because Catholic masses are significantly shorter than Russian Orthodox ones. The joke is funny because it's also true. I believe a direct quote from my father was, "No way I'm sitting through that." In all seriousness, though, I believe our parents opted for Catholicism because of my paternal grandparents, Mario and Catherine Galluccio, after whom I have chosen to name my children. My Nani and Papa were two of the most wonderful humans I have ever known. Being Catholic was very important to them. Being raised Catholic included things like attending CCD, weekly young Catholic education classes. I really did not like going. I was always the only girl, and when I would ask questions, the response would be, "Don't question the teachings," period. I also don't remember many of the teachings as I wasn't engaged at all. Honestly, my most vivid memory of CCD was coming out of the church after class, standing in the dark, hunting for my mom's red Jeep in the parking lot and worrying that she wouldn't be there right on time. I knew my mom would always come get me. She was like that. She lives for my sister and me. But now that I look back on it as an adult, I think I just didn't feel comfortable at CCD. It didn't feel like home, and I wanted to just go home. My best friend growing up is Jewish. He would invite me over for the high holidays with his family. I love celebrating his family's traditions. I also have the most vivid memories of my 7th and 8th grade years when so many of my friends became bar and bat mitzvah, and I would spend many a Saturday morning in the temples of northern New Jersey, including this one. I had Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam down pat. I look back now and realize Judaism has somehow always been a part of my life, even if in small, subtle ways. It feels very familiar to me. Fast forward to my late 20s, when I fell in love with a man who had been raised Jewish. We got engaged. He never asked me to convert, so I didn't. People asked, "Are you going to get married in a church? Are you going to get married in a temple?" I tried politely dancing around the questions in a very non-confrontational way. The man I fell in love with would reply, "It's none of your business." We got married at the plaza by a friend who was ordained by the Universal Life Church, aka instant online ordination. We then started to have children. They never asked me to convert, so I didn't. People asked, "How are you going to raise your children? Won't your kids be confused?" I tried politely dancing around the questions in a very non-confrontational way. The father of my children would reply, "It's none of your business." The none of your business really hit home for me. It wasn't about shutting people out or their opinions, rather about giving ourselves the space and grace to do what felt right for our family. As time went on, something started happening. Little things. When we bought our house in Franklin Lakes, my best friend from law school gifted us a beautiful mezuzah for our front door. I looked up the meaning behind a mezuzah and felt so comforted by it, especially in my new home that I would have my family in. We put it by our front door. Then came Rosh Hashanah. I wanted to cook a beautiful meal for my family, so I did. We started living Jewishly. Most of you know the rest of the story. Barnard Temple. I was invited to attend a Mommy and Me class, by that little girl right there, with my then 1.5-year-old son. It was there that I began to formulate lifelong bonds and friendships and how I began to experience Reform Judaism through Barnard Temple. My first experiences attending services were with my children. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur family services, Friday morning Shabbat parties, Friday night Tat Shabbats. I found myself listening. I found myself engaged. Sure, everything was put into words and terms specific to young kids, but it resonated with me. I think there was beauty in the foundation and simplicity for me that was shared with the kids. I was learning it with them. Particular things started piquing my interest. For example, the concept of rereading the Torah every year was eye-opening to me. The idea that we are different people with different experiences year to year, and the words that meant something to us one day might not mean the same thing the next was mind-blowing. It struck a chord. I'm a bit of a perpetual student. I love to learn and I love to apply what I learned to my daily life. It felt like I was being invited to be a student for the rest of my life. And to me, that was something so inspiring and comforting. If we're not continuing to learn, continuing to grow, continuing to be better versions of ourselves, what are we doing? This has inspired me to learn Hebrew. I don't know what most of the words mean yet, but I can read them. I intend to continue learning. I also found strong connections to things like Tikkun Olam and Lador Vador. These were ways I strove to live my life, but never had a term or a concept to identify it. I did now. It was the amalgam of things like this that led me to where I am today, and I look forward to continuing to explore the teachings and traditions and welcoming them into my life. My decision to convert became even more clear these past few years working on the capital campaign. I was so invested in it. When I began, I was working and striving to build a future for my kids, my friends, my community, and then at some point I began to realize I was also building for myself. It became mine too. I realized I'm so a part of Barnard and this community. It brought me back to that feeling of wanting to go home when I was a kid after religious school. I never have that feeling anymore. I have finally found my home. I've witnessed at dinners with so-called friends, my husband being the target of anti-Semitic jokes, cloaked in humor to evade bigotry. And since October 7th, I have dear friends in this community who have been, and their children have been, the direct targets of anti-Semitism. My son has been as well. So, at these times, I didn't feel like it was happening around me or adjacent to me. Rather, it was happening to me. This is my husband. This is my son. These are my friends' kids who feel like my own. This is me. One might ask, with anti-Semitism on the rise, why would you want to become Jewish? My response? What we have here is so beautiful and sacred and worth protecting and sustaining. How could I not? I want my husband, my children, and my friends to know I'm with you. I'm honored and humbled that you'll have me.
Prior to my time here at Barnard, which began over a decade ago, I felt as though religion was an individualized experience, a linear back and forth between the person and their religious connection. The picture in my head is of me in a chair in an empty room and one other chair in that room. Seated in that chair is fill in the blank, whatever image of God one has, religious teachings, biblical stories, etc. Again, this linear back and forth. Can this be meaningful? Of course. But it is also something else, insular, even isolating. Prior to Barnard, this was my relationship with religion. The room in which I sit is no longer an empty room with 2 chairs. Rather, the room in my head looks like our sanctuary. Chairs full of family, friends, community, life. It's a community of people coming together, embracing one another, and leaning on one another. It's become abundantly clear that this community is my community, and you have one more standing with you. That is my answer. I've chosen the Hebrew name Miri for myself. It derives from Miriam, who was a female leader of the Israelites. I hope the name will inspire me to find ways to be a leader in this community. In the Roman Catholic religion, your parents select godparents for you. My godmother was my father's first cousin, Mary Ann. I've chosen the name Miri after my godmother, Mary Ann. She was a woman who exuded class and kindness. She also did not have the easiest life growing up and overcame a lot of hardships, but always kept that class and kindness when enduring such hardships. She also would find small moments to remind me that life isn't all rainbows and butterflies, but as long as we approach life with a perceptive heart, a term I'm borrowing from Musar teachings, we can lay our heads down on our pillows at night with ease. As I mentioned earlier, I've been studying Hebrew, and I've also begun an adult B'nai Mitzvah class. It's poetic that Max is becoming a bar mitzvah next month, and it brings me back to my 7th and 8th grade years, when I spent every Saturday in temple and wondered when I was having my bat mitzvah. It may have taken some time, it may not fit the usual formula, but I love to walk off the beaten path. I look forward to continuing my own Jewish Journey project right alongside my 3 children. Thank you.
Usually when we clap at temple, it's like we're clapping with, on a 2 and a 4 beat but not to applaud. But you can do this if you are feeling moved to do that for Lauren. So the next couple of pieces are rituals that will sort of pick up from exactly where Lauren left off. She shared with us her journey. This week we went to the mikveh. She told us what the name she chose for herself is. And I'm going to actually invite Max and Sydney and Lana and Seth to join us on the bima now. And we're going to open the ark. So I'm also going to invite everyone to rise. So many directions. So Lauren, there's 7 affirmations that we ask people who are choosing Judaism to make, and then I'm going to hand you a Torah, and then you'll offer the Shema, and then I'll formally bestow your Jewish name upon you. Okay. Lauren, do you choose to enter the eternal covenant between God and the people of Israel and to become a Jew of your own free will? Do you commit yourself to the pursuit of Torah and Jewish knowledge?
Yes.
Do you promise to continue to have established your Jewish home and to participate actively in the life of this synagogue? It says the synagogue, but I'm going to say this synagogue and the Jewish community?
Yes.
Great. Will you continue to raise your children as Jews?
Yes.
Do you commit to building a meaningful relationship with the state of Israel and its people?
Yes.
Do you accept Judaism to the exclusion of all other religious faiths and practices?
Yes.
Do you pledge your loyalty to Judaism and to the Jewish people under all circumstances?
Yes. That was easy, breezy. Am I doing it right?
You're doing it great. It's heavy.
And they have to walk around with this?
Yeah.
Wow, you guys.
Lauren, you stand here before the open ark and in the presence of our Torah, our most treasured gift. This Torah has led us on the way and guided us ever since we received it at Mount Sinai. It has been carried during times of our greatest rejoicing and when we fled from burning synagogues and villages. We place this Torah in your arms. Take it to heart as you now recite the Shema, the words on the lips of Jews until the moment of our death, the affirmation that has sustained the Jewish people in life since our beginning. Do you want the words? That was beautiful.
Thanks.
Lauren, you are known by the name Lauren Krause, which means that you are always linked in love to those who gave you life. And from this time forward, you shall also be known within the Jewish community as Miri Bat Avraham V'Sara. May this name bring respect to you and honor to the Jewish people. We rejoice to welcome into our midst one who willingly and devotedly helps to lift up the esteem and the status and the love and the Jewish living of our people. And we say to you, Mazel Tov and welcome. We're going to hold off on the last blessing until after we name these awesome Krause children. So you can be seated, and you're all going to come over here. We're not quite done with you. So we waited to name, to give Jewish names. Of course, you already have names, obviously, Max, Sydney, and Lana. But come over here, honey. We waited to give you your Jewish names once we knew that your mom was on this journey, so that when you received your Jewish names, you would carry both your dad's Jewish name and your mom's Jewish name. So Lauren is going to just share a little bit about each of your names, and then we'll do in succession a quick
Okay.
blessing on your head, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov.
Yes. Okay, so I really picked their names because he doesn't really care much. Okay, I have named, so I did it. I have named Lana Millie. Millie is often associated with one's seeking of true love. It is meant to bestow upon the child a sense of eternal optimism. Lana is named Millie after my godmother, Mary Ann's mother, Millie. Auntie Mill was a little Nancy Reagan lookalike. She was tiny, but fiercely witty and loyal. She did everything with dignity and class. Come here, this one's important. Sydney is named Chaya. Chaya is a derivative of Hayim, which we all know to mean life. It's a reminder of the gift of life and the belief that each person has a unique purpose on earth. This is so Sydney. Sydney is named Chaya after my nanny, Catherine, another very strong Italian woman who spoke softly but carried a big stick when it came to her family. She was so selfless and wanted the best for those she loved. And when you felt loved by her, you felt like you always had someone in your corner. Your turn. And Max is mayor. First of all, mayor sounds like mayor, and well, isn't that very appropriate for our aspiring politician? It means one who shines. It is our hope for Max that he continues to shine light on what is right and good. He is named mayor after my pup Mario. My grandfather had the biggest heart you could ever imagine. He made every single person he met feel like the most important person in the room. He valued their story. He made them feel seen. Also, are you wearing it? The huge Flava Flav high Max wears was his. We don't know why, but there you have it. To be able to let the legacy of these beautiful people live on in my children and myself is an honor and a privilege.
Okay, Max, I know your mom did Lana's name explanation first, but I'm going to name you first since you came first, okay? All you have to do is stand there. I'm not mitzvahing you. But I do need to give you your name before I can call you to the Torah as bar mitzvah next month. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu kayem et hayeled hazeh la'aviv ule'imo v'yikarei shemo b'Yisrael Meir ben Shimshon v'Miri Yismach ha'av b'yotzeich alatzav v'tagel imo v'ifri vitna Ze hakaton gadol yihiyeh, kashem shenichnas labrit, kain yikanes laTorah ulechupa ulema'asim tovim. Amen. Tovim, which means good. I'm going to do all the Hebrew blessings, and then I'll just read it one time in English, okay? Miss Sydney, if you would. Thank you. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu kayem et hayalda hazot la'aviha ule'ima vayikare shema beYisrael Chaya bat Shimshon v'Miri Yismach ha'av beyotzel chalatza v'tagel ima v'fri v'itna zot haketana gedola tehiyeh kashem shenichnesah lebrit kein tikanes laTorah ulechupa ulema'asim tovim. All right, you staying right here? You're perfect. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu kayem et hayalda hazot la'aviha ule'ima vayikare shema beYisrael Mili bat Shimshon v'Miri Yismach ha'av beyotzeit chalatza v'tagel ima v'fri v'itna zot hakatana gedola tehiyeh kashem shenichnesah lebrit kain tikanes laTorah ulechupa ulema'asim tovim. So each one of those that meant our God and God of our mothers and our fathers. Sustain each child through their parents' loving care. Let each one be known among our people Israel by the name Meir and Meir ben Shimshon v'Miri, Chaya bat Shimshon v'Miri, and Mili bat Shimshon v'Miri. We're almost done, I promise, Anna. May you each be a source of joy to your parents. May you be inspired to serve our people and all of humankind. May your parents rejoice in your growth of body and spirit. Just as they have brought you into the covenant, so may they with wisdom and patience lead you to the study of Torah, to a life of good deeds, and to a life filled with companionship, worthy of God's blessing. And let us all say, Amen. Just, if you will just give me one more moment for a blessing. All of you, okay? Team hug. Oh no, but you should be in, not out. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you, and may God watch over you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May God's face shine on you, and may God be gentle with you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May your life be filled with an awareness that God is anywhere and everywhere you look or need. May your life be filled with family and laughter and learning, and most of all, peace. Amen. And now you can do this again.
Your hands are cold.
We offer now our prayer for healing of body or of spirit for our friends and our family who are in need of healing in the middle of page 371. In the middle of our prayer, you'll have the opportunity to share the names of anyone you are praying for this evening. Share the name aloud now of anybody whose health or wholeness you pray.
Mishem
586 on the lower half of the page. Please rise.
Aleinu leshabech ladon hakol, lateker laliatzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishmichot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegoralenu kecho amonam, v'anachnu korim ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 591. Please be seated.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד ושמו אחד ושמו אחד.
Page 598. And we remember with love those of our beloved friends or families whose yahrzeit fall on this Shabbat. This week we remember Bertha Abrahams and Joseph Abrahams, William Adelman, and Mike Becker, Ann Singer Builder, Edward Beer, William Borson, Kate Brandt, Herbert Brown, Lynn Diamond, Dorothy Doblin, Eleanor Dougal, Carmen Fernandez, Yetta Folkman, Seal Gerlich. Is Aviva here? No, okay. Grace Gold, Robert Gutenstein, Rose Fladdick, Christopher Johnston, Lillian F. Kahn, Henry Carrig, Nathaniel Kent, Abram Kleinert, Florence Levine, Louis David Michelson, Arthur Radwin, Rabbi Max Raisin, Helen Robbins, Harold Rosen, David Salkowitz, Diane Shore, Sandra Schwartz, Howard Silver, Gloria Solomon, Moshe Troinovsky, James Utterbach, Irene Weber, Robert Weil, and Malcolm Weiss. During this period of Shloshim, we remember Muriel Rothenberg and Dan Brooks, and as part of the larger Am Yisrael, people of Israel, for this first week of Shloshim, we remember Oded Lifshitz and Shiri and Ariel and Kafir Bibas and Sachi Idan, our hostages returned whose funerals happened last week before Shabbat. And this week, also as part of the larger Jewish people, we remember these 3 hostages who were returned but whose funerals did not happen last week before Shabbat, for whom we say Kaddish this week for the first time. We remember Shlomo Mansour, Ohad Yahalomi, and Yitzchak Elgarat. In our community this week, we offer Kaddish for Jake Carr, and we send our love to the whole Carr Noack family, especially to Jana and Eli and Ari and Lila and Nathan. We remember Albie Sherman, and we send our love to Sherry and Arnie and to their family. Albie was Sherry's father. And we remember our very longtime congregant, Robert Myers, who joined the temple, at least according to Shul Cloud, in 1970. And we send our love to his whole family. There are others you are remembering this Shabbat and you would like to offer their name aloud. I invite you to do so now. If you're observing a yard site this Shabbat, or if you are remembering somebody who died in more recent days, I invite you to rise first. And again, we do this in our community so that we can see who the mourners are in our midst, because we will rise in a moment, all of us together. But to you, we say, Zichronam Livracha, may the memories of your beloveds become blessings as you weave the best of who they were, the legacies that they have entrusted you with, into the way that you live. And we rise together on page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach yirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyom echon, uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kari v'yimru, amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevorach le'alam ulalmei almaya, yidbarach v'yishtabach v'yidpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yit'alal shemei dekudisha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, ta'amiran be'alma v'yimru, amen. Yehei shlama rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru, amen. Hoseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all people everywhere. And we say together, amen. I'll be very quick with my announcements, I promise. Tomorrow morning, if you are already signed up for the Rise Against Hunger event, we're starting promptly at 10, so come a couple of minutes beforehand. Next Friday night, a week from tonight, is our Purim celebration at Barnard, because Friday is Purim, and it is a wicked Purim spiel. So I hope you'll be back here. It's a 6:30 sort of abbreviated Kabbalat Shabbat service. Shh. I know, I still want you to hear my announcements, so you still have to be quiet, okay? They're all important, I promise. This Sunday, our Sinai and Synopsis class continues with Rabbi Jeff Middleman. And then next week, just to put in your keppies, we're going to be joining together with the Peace Islands Institute and two of our local Christian communities for an iftar, a Ramadan iftar on March 25th. So you'll see information about that coming soon. The Women's Seder is now going to be happening on April 3rd, and we're going to be lifting up the stories of Israeli women this year, both women whose lives were taken from them on October 7th, and women who have really led work for healing and repair in Israel since October 7th. So more information on that. And about Israel also, I will say, starting on Monday, it's finally here. The World Zionist Congress election begins on Monday. It's for 2 months, and every Jewishly identified adult who is 18 or older can vote. And I am begging you, when this email comes, to please just click through. It costs $5. It's an administrative fee. If that is cost prohibitive for you, come tell me and I will pay for you to vote. Because these elections are not like state-run where there are taxes or whatever to pay for elections. Every Jewishly identified 18-year-old person, I really want to say we need you to vote. This election determines spending billions of dollars of spending to make sure that Israel is a place where people and Jews of all different observances and walks and stripes and lives and can have access to life, and to life that we, in the vision of Reform Judaism. And Yael Klein, who's back there, can tell you a lot more about it if you want to see Oneg. She's one of our captains, along with Karen Saget, leading our WZC campaign. So you're going to get a lot of emails about it. We're going to bug you until you tell us you voted, and then also ask you to keep telling your friends and family. You don't have to belong to a synagogue. You just have to be a Jewishly identified adult who is 18 or older. And you could imagine that the ultra-Orthodox right is very good at mobilizing the votes. right? And the vote reform is our platform, and we really need everybody, like really, your vote really matters. Do you think your vote matters? Your vote really matters. Okay, so Monday voting starts. We'll send out an email once we vote and we figure out how it works, because we want to tell you exactly how it's going to go. They told us how they think it's going to go, but we want to make sure it's really going to go that way before we tell you what to do. Okay, so to get in the spirit of next week, if you wish to see words for Adon Olam to a melody that you know that you probably can't put to the melody anyway, but if that makes you happy, turn to bracketed page. Oh, yes, we'll do Motzi. I know, sorry, I always forget. Okay, we'll do Motzi, and then we'll do this so we can end. I just want to get to this part. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Now turn to 625.
Whenever I meet someone less musical than I, and let's face it, who isn't less musical than I, my tender heart tends to start to bleed. And when someone needs a makeover, I simply have to take over. I know exactly what they need. And even in your case, though it's the toughest case I've yet to face, don't worry, I'm determined to succeed. Follow my lead.
On page 625.
And yes, indeed, we will sing Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem kol Yitzir nivra, Liet l'sal v'chefzo kol, Azai melech shemo nikra, V'aharei kitlot hakol, Levado imloch nora, Adon Olam. Asher malach, B'terem kol Yitzir nivra, Liet l'sal v'chefzo kol, Azai melech shemo nikra. Gichot hakol, levado yimloch nora, vehu haya, vehu hove, vehu yeh, betifara, Adon Olam. Asher malach, B'terem kol Yitzir nivra, Liet l'sal v'chefzo kol, Azai melech shemo nikra. La 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 la, Adon Olam Asher Malach. Everybody. La 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 la, Adon Olam Asher Malach. One more time. La come to our wicked Purim spiel.
Shabbat Shalom. Mazel Tov to you and to us, and please join us for dinner and sweets.